You look like an angel.
Alright, Rare Elvis Photos, we're back for another video today. So this video is about how Mike Stone and Priscilla's relationship completely proves the child bride narrative accurate. So for those of you that don't know about the book Child Bride, it was written by Suzanne Finstead, and the story of that book is that Priscilla Presley, before she met Elvis, is the one that pursued the meeting, versus her story, which is that Curry Grant, a guy named Currie, not to be confused with Cary Grant, came up to Priscilla and asked her, "Hey, would you like to meet Elvis?" That's her story. That's her narrative. The book, according to Curry's recollections and his lie detector test, was that Priscilla came up to him and said, "Hey, I know you. I heard you know Elvis. I'd like to meet him," kind of a thing. And the book goes on to say that Priscilla continued to pursue Curry in that manner, and Curry was attracted to Priscilla. Now we all know Priscilla's age at that time. She was 14, and Curry was somewhere around Elvis's age, 23, 24. Curry was married, and his story in that book by Suzanne Finstead is that she traded her body for access to Elvis, as well as for tutelage on what Elvis desired, what he wanted out of a woman. And what he wanted out of a woman was a shy, quiet, demure, attentive person, very much like a southern girl back in the days. So according to that book, Priscilla pursued him pretty heavy, gave herself to Curry several times, then got to meet Elvis, took all the tips from Curry in order to get Elvis to like her, to trust her. And then Curry continued to try to have a relationship in that way with her. And once she was in solidly with Elvis, she refused. Now, according to Priscilla, had told Elvis that, "Hey, Curry tried to do this to me," or whatever the story she told Elvis. And according to Priscilla, Elvis cut Curry Grant out of the circle, and she never saw him again after Christmas. Well, which we now know to be a complete fabrication, because historical photos. Curry Grant's the one that drove Elvis and Priscilla to the airport to leave Germany. Curry Grant is the one that took photographs of Priscilla in 1962 and sent them to Elvis. The photographs that were like these baby doll model, seductive little photos of her. So once again, let's get into the story with Mike Stone. For those that don't know Mike Stone, I'm sure you do, but if you're a new Elvis fan, maybe you don't. When Priscilla left Elvis, she'd already had several affairs, but none bigger than this guy, Mike Stone. Mike Stone was a karate instructor, friends with Chuck Norris. In fact, he met her years before at a karate exhibition, and Elvis said he thought that Mike was a bad ASS. Respected his karate. And what Mike says, especially in this newer interview, that Priscilla pursued him. Priscilla invited herself out to drinks with Mike and Joe Esposito's wife or girlfriend at the time, and Chuck Norris, I believe it was. And then she invited herself to be a student. Even though Mike was like, "Why would you want to drive an hour away to my studio? You shouldn't do that." No, I wouldn't drive an hour to see anybody. And there's better, Chuck's better than me. There's better instructors. And she just continued pursuing. She would call him at his studio and wait on the phone for 30 minutes while he was given an instruction in order to get a hold of him to try to continue to seduce him. Now, hey, it's Priscilla. It's Priscilla's right as a human. She was attracted to Mike. Now, she was married to Elvis at the time, obviously. He's the mother of Lisa. Anyhow, so Mike said that they pursued this relationship, and Elvis was aware, because his mafia saw these things. They knew of these things, but Mike and her actually lived together in an apartment for a year before their relationship was even made public, as a official. And of course, all this while, she's still married to Elvis, and Elvis wasn't a fool. He knew that, and so of course, at that time, Elvis was with other people too, because Priscilla, according to her own words, broke the bond of marriage first. She had an affair with a dance instructor named "quote unquote" Mark, which turns out to be Stephen Peck, according to everybody around Elvis that knew, and that. So how does this prove the child bride narrative as accurate? Which that's been the big movement here, and the book's been out a long time, but I think more people are talking about it because they see that Priscilla's just using the same tired little story that she uses about being in love, and they were still going to get together when Elvis was 50 and she was 40. She had an interview early on that said that she was with Elvis for 15 years, and whatever story she can make in order to make money. And this whole quiet, shy, innocent, I was innocent. You're not innocent when you are pursuing guys that are married as well. Now, Mike Stone was married as well. Let's go ahead and steal Mike Stone from his wife. It wasn't Mike that came on to Priscilla. It wasn't Mike that pursued Priscilla. It was Priscilla pursuing him in hot pursuit, like Roscoe Pico Train from Dukes of Hazzard used to say. She was in hot pursuit of Mike Stone, full aware that he was married, full aware that there was a child on the way, because she has no respect for other women, and which makes me laugh when there's, and I shouldn't be mean. I'm not trying to be mean. If you're a Priscilla fan, you obviously must love something about her style, her act, whatever it is. But she's got no respect for women. Right there tells you that. She took a married man from his wife, and she was expecting. The wife was expecting, and Priscilla asked Mike to please introduce me to your wife while they were doing it, while they were doing the deed, living in an apartment, to try to get in tight and close to her. So that takes a special kind of sick person to do something like that. And Mike Stone, in his interview, made it very clear that it was Priscilla that did all of the pursuing, and he was more than happy. He was like he was a horn dog, I guess. Priscilla was a very, very attractive woman, and I know some of you don't think she was, and some of you just don't even want to say that, but she was. She was an attractive person. That's one of the reasons why Elvis was attracted to her, because she was a very attractive woman. And that's probably why a lot of people like Priscilla or liked Priscilla. Maybe that's why I liked her, back in the day. I kind of felt kind of bad for her until I started seeing all this other stuff. Even before I read Child Bride, I was thinking, this just doesn't add up. Once you get a bit older and you take the blinders off your eyes and you see, the deeds that she's done, you don't love somebody and do what she did. And that's my opinion. And I know people go, well, Elvis did the same thing. Well, Elvis was Elvis. Priscilla was just, she was pretending to be this innocent, quiet person. When you're pretending, to be somebody that you're not, it's fraud. That's fraud in the marriage. That was fraud in the relationship. She ruined Elvis's life, in my opinion. Her fraud ruined Elvis's life, and caused him to die young. That's my opinion, and I know it's some of yours as well. And I'm trying not to be harsh. She's a human. She deserves to make the choices she wants to make. She deserves to be with who she wants to be. The problem is that she waited until she had hitched her ride to the cash cow, and then she took him for everything he was worth, with her California attorneys. That's just the truth of it, calculating. That's what I would say, that she was very calculating. And she didn't see Elvis as a man anymore. She didn't see Elvis as a father anymore in the scenario when she took Elvis and claimed fraud to him, that Elvis was fraudulently denying her financial freedoms, and forced him to sell his publishing company, so he could fund her relationship with Mike Stone, so he could fund everything she wanted to buy her, all of her clothes, all of her main, name brand clothes back in the 70s. And then, when more calculating, when Vernon was about to pass, she weaseled her way in. Elvis cut her out of the will completely. Not a single penny for Priscilla. Not a single anything for Priscilla. Not allowed to do anything. And she weaseled away on the deathbed and of Vernon and got to be a co-executive along with the bank. And I forgot the other gentleman's name. I forget his name. I know his name, and then she takes all the credit for saving Graceland. She didn't do nothing besides put her face, in a video for Graceland. The idea is to create. So, but anyways, that's another video for another time. But she completely proves the narrative of Child Bride to be 100% accurate. She was the pursuer of Mike Stone. More than likely, she had to be the pursuer of Curry Grant. Now, she sued Curry later on and kept him from profiting on the book. And that was her sole intent. She sued him, won some monetary damages, but she wanted to hush, quiet it up. So what she did was she didn't make him pay anything at all. That doesn't sound like somebody that would be so. If somebody accused me of doing something like that wasn't true, they get punished to the full extent of the law. She didn't do that to Curry in order for Curry not to talk about it anymore. That's all. That was all it was. Not to talk about it anymore. Hush money, because more than likely, if you just look at the proof being in the pudding with Mike Stone and how pursuant she was, and how wantonly disregarding she was of the marriage, of his marriage, of her marriage, of another woman, of another child. That's a woman that wants to get who's supposed to be quiet, young lady, shy, and reserved. Yeah, I don't buy it, not for a single second. Priscilla, I think, was cold and calculating from a young age. She was taught that way by her mom. Read that book, Child Bride. If you have any, I guess any desire for a different truth than what you're being told by Priscilla. TCB TLC, please become a member of this channel. Click that join button. It's a price of a cup of coffee in California is what it is. And that'll help me make videos. I'm going to be planning on making videos every single day. All right, love you guys. This is Rare Elvis Photos.